Okay. I think we are live. Welcome, everyone. It is March 10th, and we're excited to be back again for another session of Legend in the Mist. And this is Twilight in the Dales, a homebrew campaign where I'm making it up as I go along, like Han Solo. Again, another flying by the seat of my pants, which this game seems to be pretty well suited to. Some prep is seems needed, and I'll dial in on that as we go. But right now, I've got plots aplenty, and I'm ready to start throwing them at the players. But let's begin first at the beginning with a recap of what the heck happened last week because um, Ashrin's player wasn't able to make it. And tonight we have Maya's character not able to make it tonight. So that's one of the reasons why we stream and record these sessions so people can go back and look
First,
at them if they have time, or otherwise, um, you know, maybe other people will get to see how we're playing Legend in the Mist right now, even before the system is published. So, all right, take it away, Jared.
first,
Oh, first, sir.
first, I had to update my character earlier, but it said I couldn't save anything while the game was paused.
Oh, okay.
I
Well, the
was going
game.
to change that trait to circumstance, but
Okay. You can do that while we're talking. Yep, you just unlock the sheet. You can ditch that whole top, the whole thing and put in a new one and go for it. Good. Yep, you've got it, sir. I'll let you do that while Jared does the recap. Maybe that will give you enough time. All right, Jared, it's all you now. And
All right.
when you're done, I will award you a growth, which would on our sheets in this game is called experience. So go for
Okay. Um, Basically, where we started off was Chewbacca and Maya were on a caravan, escorting a caravan towards um, High Glade,
it. Yep.
and they made their way safely through the evening and arrived. And their caravan master uh, is a acquaintance of Jared. So when Jared went down to meet the caravan master, they shot the shit, and he was talking about you know what what did you bring, what's bringing you in, and how'd it go, and the caravan master had mentioned that they had some good people on, particularly citing how well Chewbacca and Maya had performed, and that you know they're going to be settling in for the winter because we're steadfastly approaching winter. So, they'd be looking for employment. And Jared, who's in the process right now of trying to recruit some folks, was introduced and asked them if they'd like to come over and have dinner and discuss some prospects at his manor because he had acquired some land from the Lord Protectorate and title of Baron, a modest estate. But as we made our way there, uh, we they're close to evening, drank, ate, and you were there, but you were strong and silent. So people
nice.
started to regale one another with their tales, and I filled them in on basically what the prior adventuring party had encountered, what the Lord Protectorates have tasked me with, and that I was looking for brave adventurers if they were interested to accompany me in whatever this would bring. I told them that it isn't as if we're getting funded per se, but as adventurers, whatever we encountered, we'd split evenly, as would the decisions. So we discussed each other's background to a lesser or greater extent with whatever anyone felt comfortable with, and we kind of adjourned before we got into the meat of the session planning. because we wanted to make sure you were present.
Okay.
I don't think I missed anything because it was a heavy session. It was just more like we were laying the ground. That's what I got.
Very good. Excellent. So there was no massive cliffhanger, as I am so fond of doing, but they did round out their discussion for the night and then turned in. So um, that is where we left off. All right. So Jared, you may go ahead and mark on the character sheet. It's called experience, but in our rules, it's called growth, and this would lead you toward an improvement. Like every single time that you use a tag from one of your themes that is a weakness tag, that will give you that same experience. It'll mark it automatically for you. The way you find that is you flip your sheet over, and as you flip it over, you'll see experience and decay. So it's not this. This sheet is still a work in progress. Like I said, we are kind of at the mercy of the developer to get that right. You can mark, even with your sheet locked, you can mark decay, which would be abandon, but you can't mark experience as defined in the rules. That's what would lead you toward evolving your character's theme to the next level up in might. And those are moments of introspection where you chose to where you did things that accomplish your quest. So a milestone toward accomplishing your quest. So if you felt like you did that, then you can mark experience. So I think the best place for us to mark that experience would be with the quest. So in the little box on your sheet where you actually do reach a milestone, then we need to mark there somehow, like maybe just an asterisk at the very end of your quest. And when you get 3 asterisks, you can evolve your theme to the next level or replace it with another theme of the same level.
And that's under the motivation piece.
Yeah. So yeah, again, so we're kind of working around we're working with what we've got. But I really like the way this particular sheet just works for flow of action, for keeping track of statuses and tags and that sort of thing. So that's why we moved to this one instead of the absolutely much prettier um, setup with the
And
actual Legend in the Mist module. But
can I
that one is,
pick
yes,
whichever card I want, or is this going to be specific? Like it should be
no,
under circumstance or
no.
devotion?
Right now, you should probably just pick where you want. Um, in City of Mist, by comparison, there's a move that's called the opening monologue. And that's an action that you can take. So the narrator will ask a player if they want to do the monk, or someone volunteers. And then when they're done doing that recap that leads into today's section, they play that move. And what it will do is it will mark the least um, attentioned theme. And so if you have a theme that has 2 attention and another theme that has 1 attention, it's going to choose the 1 attention to add the attention to. So in this case, you can choose what you want. Hold on a second. Okay, so based on that, you may add an experience point to whichever, a growth, and that will unlock, which is what will happen mechanically on this sheet when you accomplish 3 growth. It will unlock your ability to add a new tag from your theme or theme kit.
So I should
Or
flip the card over and add it as part of the experience, like click the
yes,
Experience Plus button.
yes. And when your sheet is locked, that's the only thing you can do. So I'll show you with your sheet locked. All you can do is hit the plus. Or I think maybe you can, yeah, you have
Take
to hit the
away.
plus button. There's no takeaway button unless you have the sheet unlocked.
Right. Because I
So,
did have it unlocked. Okay.
yep,
That's right.
yep. So then that's it. Give yourself an experience, or in this case, a growth. I wish I could rename those. I would. And then you're good to go. So on the screen that you have right now is Jared's estate. And the tokens all along the right-hand side are people that work there. So shall we have a scene where everyone gathers again in the morning and has some kind of a discussion?
Something being shared.
Hmm?
Because
Something being shared?
all I see is a black screen right now.
Really?
On
Yeah,
my end.
same
I
for
mean,
me.
okay, so it's not just me.
Yeah, black screen.
Okay. How's that?
Now I
Yeah.
see.
That's great.
Yeah.
You mean we played all the last session and you guys were just looking at a black screen the whole time?
No, last session we had images.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. So this is it. It's even got some animation. There's clouds moving, or smoke coming out of the chimney, and little birds pecking around on the lawn. Come on, it's a cool scene.
It is.
Got to be able to see it. All right. So there you guys are, and you can see your tokens. So you're good. Oh, I gotta fix a couple. The default for the system was making everybody hostile. That's not great. It doesn't really matter in this system, but I don't want people to be
You open the scene and they have pitchforks. They're trying to burn you down.
right. So all of your staff are against you. They're very hostile. We'll ignore that.
Down with
All
the
right.
bourgeoisie.
Exactly. All right. So it is morning, and I believe that probably Beatrice will be the one cooking in the kitchen, making breakfast for the family. Oh, there is a Mrs. I didn't put her out here. Did I got it? Do I have her in here? No. And Garrick, of course, is there. He's your man. So let me look, and I'll have to add your misses here. So I will do that while we talk. All right. So everyone eventually comes down at the call for breakfast. Let me. The manor house is not exactly bustling, but certainly people are up and at it, getting into their daily affairs. Garrick, of course, keeping a sharp eye on the bottom line in his ledgers. He is got the task of checking stores of food since the cold months are well upon us. They're starting to get chilly. He's going to make sure that the food stores will get us through till spring. So that's one of his tasks today. There is a cook. Sorry, this is Raleigh, and Raleigh is your cook in the kitchen. He runs the kitchen. So we'll say B is working with setting the table, and it's a big farmhouse table that everyone kind of can sit at. And so she's setting it and getting things ready, and getting the fruit on the table. Things that don't need to be cooked, she's putting those out, place settings, etc. Garrick is sitting off to the side. There's a desk against the wall that is one of his work areas, and so he's um, sharpening his pencil to start doing some more math in that book. And that is the beginning. So, Jared, as you walk in, tell us what you do.
Well, as I walk in, I take a look and see if Maya or Ashran or Chewbacca is up also in the in that room. Uh, I note and nod solemnly to Garrick and say hello to B. And if I come across Raleigh, I will also greet him in the morning and see um, what's for breakfast.
Well,
And I'll sit
yep,
down.
yep. All right, who else is there? Is anyone already there,
Tomorrow.
or are you coming in
Is
later?
everybody today?
There you go.
Why is everybody angry at us?
By the way, Ashton is oversleeping. She has a very bad habit of staying up way too late watching the stars and writing in her notebook.
Ah, yes. All right. Well,
Okay.
you've got a lot of shoes there, and we'll say that Maya's already there, um, and so she'll plop down at the table and get started on an apple. What is the kitchen serving this morning, Jared, for breakfast?
Well, we are having some bacon and some fresh milk, as well as some eggs. And let's see. I think
Farm bread?
and bread. Absolutely. Yes, in fact, that's what you smelt early in the morning that kind of woke us all up.
Farm bread.
You got it. That big hearty 10 grain bread. And
Ah,
let's see. And the jam preservatives that the estate is known for. So there's a sampling of that, and we see, what they've actually gotten out of it. I mean, obviously they're seasonal berries, but that grow there naturally. But the other ones that have been cultivated, we do those as well. So there's a sampling of nice preservatives, marmalade,
Hey,
and
Martha comes in. She's been out in the gardens this morning doing some
I would
early work, and
get
she
up
comes
and
in and greets you.
greet her, get up and kiss her on the cheek, and say, how goes this morning so far?
And she says, I don't think that they're going to bloom before it snows. Ah, oh well. So I've been working on keeping the bulbs insulated to make it through till spring.
Let's see, Martha did encounter them last session briefly, so no additional introductions are necessary. I say to Martha, let me know if you need anything, of course. And did you have breakfast?
I have not. I've been waiting for you.
All right. Please join us. And I stand up and pull out her chair,
Okay.
push it in.
She smiles and she says, "Let me drop these gloves off. I'll be right back." And so she walks into another room nearby, and she comes back and she's drying her hands off that she washed in a basin or something in the other room, and she tucks it into her kind of apron on her dress, and then she sits down and thanks you and says, "Oh, maybe I should help uh, Raleigh. He's got more
Sit,
people he's feeding
sit,
today than."
sit, sit, sit. Take a load off.
No, no, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's not right just to leave the poor guy, you know, doing all the
I was
work.
gonna head over there and take a look and see if Raleigh needed help. So, I need to
And
stretch my legs.
B puts her hands out and says, "No, my lord, I'll take care of it. No problem at all." And she says, "Please spend time with your guests." And she bustles off very quickly toward the kitchen before you can say a word.
I'll tell you, Martha, I'll never get used to these trappings. But I smile warmly. I suppose you may be able to teach an old dog a new trick. It's not coming quickly. So I turn around to my guest and I go, I trust you had a good night's sleep. I hope you found everything in order. I look at Chewbacca.
Oh, yeah. I am well rested.
Good. And we're missing someone. Hmm.
So,
I nod to Maya and do chit chat, see how she's doing. But where's our other compatriot?
Garrick stands up and closes his book, tucks it underneath his arm, and he says, um, "Well, don't worry, sir. I'll go check on her." And he begins to walk. And he kind of rolls his eyes a little bit, and then he walks out the door to head upstairs to the room where Ashrin is sleeping. A moment later comes a soft knock at the door. Miss
Yeah.
Ashrin, Miss
Yeah.
Ashrin.
Everyone downstairs hears fumbling, like something falling out of bed and scurrying around and clomp. What would you say? Like uh, you know, busily running around the room and stuff before many profuse apologies being said as she kind
Hopping
of
on one foot at a time, right?
yeah, get her
Stockings
boots
on.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Hmm.
It comes kind of leaping 2 or 3 steps at a time down the stairs. She's got energy. She's young. uh, she kind of not runs, but jogs over to the table where everyone's sitting, gives a kind of a polite curtsy and apologizes. She's normally much more strict and well disciplined. It won't happen again.
Oh,
I found, says Garrick, as he's got two fingers to one of his temples and he's kind of rubbing it a little bit. He says, "I found our tardy guest, sir. Um,
thank
enjoy
you,
your
Garrick.
breakfast."
B. Do we have any more of that? Any of that coffee we got left? Because that would be a wonderful thing to put out right now.
Why, yes, sir. I have a hot pot ready to come out.
Do me a
And so
favor.
she goes and gets it,
Bring
and she brings
Garrett a
it.
cup if he doesn't have one already. I know he could use it.
Sir, apologies. He's already had two. And
Oh, then let's stay off it.
and so she comes out and pours everyone a cup who would like one. And there is a small pitcher of cream, fresh from the stables, and then there is some sugar as well, if anyone wants sugar, pressed into little cubes.
Ashrin is very curious. She's never had this drink before, so
I, I
she's
stop
eager
her.
to.
I put my hand out. I go, lady, before you do that, realize you are about to be committed to that drink, possibly for the rest of your life.
Uh, she she just gives up. And gives it a you know. Well, she downs it. Uh, she does not sip it, and yeah, it's super bitter, and she didn't add any cream or sugar or anything like that, and she looks very displeased with the flavor of it.
I will do something that was done for me when I was a child, I say, as I lean over. I'll try it again. I add some cream and some sugar, a sensible amount. stir it, and I give them to her, and I say, try it again.
She takes it very timidly this time, but this time cautious, gives it just a sip, and you can see she's putting on a polite tolerance to it, but she still seems visibly
In my travels, I've encountered
unpleasant
people that are
experience.
tea drinkers or coffee drinkers.
Yeah,
Are
she's
you a tea drinker?
she says, yeah, she's had plenty of teas. They're nice.
And that explains it all.
So
Yeah.
I
Maybe
have
it'll grow on me.
applied Burn Tongue 1 and Caffeinated 1
Please
to
do.
Ashton for downing that coffee so fast. And now it's just pumping through her veins with
Yeah.
a second cup already.
Yeah.
So
Jabba,
yeah,
jabba, 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 jabba.
does Chewbacca drink coffee? And if so, how does he take it?
Oh, very, very sweet, and with cream.
So half the bowl of sugar goes into the cup. It's like an island of sugar in the coffee.
Or coffee
And
with or sugar with a side of coffee.
right, exactly. Some wet sugar.
Right back.
Gotcha. Okay. So there you go.
This is some bitter stuff.
I'm just imagining like the animated tea, like sugar cup guy from Beauty and the Beast, just like constantly spooning in the sugar.
Tell me when you had enough.
Right on. Okay. And then
I even liked it whenever I've experimented with it. But, I wouldn't want to be a bad guest.
so one of the things that has Maya looks like she's just tired, a little bit, got a little bit of consternation on her face, and she says, "So what is this actual miasma you were talking about last night? I lost sleep over it trying to figure out what you meant."
I try to recall and describe not just the effects of the black miasma and how putrid it was, and how, for lack of a better phrase, it was. And I look around to see how many people are here, because I'm like, it's not a good conversation over food and drink unless you're having something stronger, maybe. Um,
That coffee was pretty strong for Ashern.
okay. Well, I if there was such a thing as concentrated evil, I would have labeled it that way. It was unlike anything encountered in the Dales. It was it was fluid, almost like just sludge, but inside of it, it was sentient. It corrupted. As I said, we had cut off one of the taps, but there's an underlying understanding that there's more out there. We just don't know where it's at, how far it's progressed, if it's made any progression. I dread running
It
into it again.
certainly changed people for the worse,
I do recall
convincing them to do bad things.
the one animated armor that we encountered in the fields when we were trying to save that child, it was old. I described the armor. It was maybe dated back to the early Empire. I'm not a historian myself, but I could tell you it was no recent period. And yet it animated it, and it fought. Fortunately, my comrades at the time and I were able to defeat it. We also ran into it in that underground structure where it had contaminated a machine, and the machine also had it pumping through it like blood, which is why we were able to stem it, cut it off, and contain it. But that was simply like shutting a valve, you know, for that one end. Where it leaks out in others, I don't know. That's why we've been asked by the Protectorate to go out and investigate. And with this miasma, I have a feeling that people, or at least beings, know more about it. Sorrowbomb, who I had mentioned briefly the evening before, seemed to know a little bit more than she was saying. But again, when you're in the position where you have the knowledge, you can't necessarily be pressured to give it out any faster until you want to give it out. And she's very shrewd, so I don't necessarily see her just giving it away without intent or purpose. So be mindful. It's old, whatever it is.
I don't know what that armor was about, but we certainly wouldn't have survived and succeeded without it.
Respectively, you all faced your individual challenge. I suspect, as we head out, we may run into some more that will stretch your boundaries for understanding what's known in this world. I left a changed man, and I looked down, lost in thought for a second. You see me kind of snap out of it real quick. Uh, my other comrades went their separate ways, but I'm pretty sure, they feel the way I did and do.
Ashton's been
Did I
writing in
burn
her
some
little
things in the last adventure?
Ashton's been writing in her little notebook as you describe things. She speaks up and asks, "Do you think it was magic?"
Did it have magical properties? I would probably say that the mage that traveled with us would say there was some inherent magic to it, if you would define it that way. It was so alien that we were trying to figure out exactly what it was. I had a hermit with me who was a practitioner of the old ways, crotchety old soul. Ornery enough to survive the whole thing, but it was formidable, that miasma. If we run into it again, we best be on our A game.
Ashton will ask again, uh, "Where do you think we could find more of this uh, miasma?"
Well, I hope we don't find any of it, to be honest. Nothing would make me happier than to know that we capped off the source and that it didn't make its way through. But I do recall that in the structure where we were at, we were told that there were other locations like the one we were in, and they may hold additional information. So I've always told that when things go awry, go back to the beginning. So we may explore that or something from it. I'd have to get something later and show it to you guys. It's something I brought with me from that location.
Now I'm curious.
We did free up that. We did free up that community that had been destroyed, right?
Come again?
The well where we found the entrance to the underground to go and clear the miasma, right?
Underground, we did.
Chewbacca.
And we turned off.
Don't forget Chewbacca wasn't there, just in case.
Correct. But
Oh,
if you say we, as
right,
in
right,
my
right.
comrades and I, we did shut it down. Yes.
The
Well,
little
that's a good thing.
village, the empty village, was Willow Haven.
Yep, which came back. So that's also a point of, investigation. And maybe if we poke around, Sorrowbomb might show up.
So Maya says, this sorrow bomb, is that a good thing or a bad thing as she shows up?
I think it's a good thing as long as we're properly aligned. I do not for a second doubt that she does not have a self-preservation mode, but it aligns with our own. So for now, I would say yes. For now.
At the very least, she has information that we need.
And again, a lot of it is to go out in the dales and see what we can discover on our own. If there are other traces, other things, not just the miasma. The miasma was what had me go to the Lord Protectorate and bring it to their attention, but they are concerned that that's merely the tip of the iceberg. Maybe there's more. The legends and the lores discuss of things, odd and fascinating. How much of it's true? As a matter of fact, we might be, if I try to recall, is there any sort of library or anything important or a major collection of books where we can do a study like that, ancient lores, and see if I even find a reference to this miasma and other things? Like, is there a great library in the capital?
Yes. So for sure, that is Storm. What's it called? Storm Helm.
So there's also the opportunity to do a little bit of study on our quarry before we head out.
Oh, but Storm Helm's quite a distance away.
Anything nearby?
No, I mean there may be some villages. Let me think. Maybe High Glade has someone who does have books, but it's not like a library. And the
But
odds of
High Glades folklore and old myths would pretty much be for that regional area, correct?
correct, or the Dales. There may be
The
books
Dales.
that
Well,
cover
it's
the
worth
Dales, but
investigating. It's something that we can go
Mhm.
and actually see if we find something, a clue, so to say. So are you guys up to heading into the High Glade to do a little research before we continue?
Ashton's ready to go
Yeah.
anywhere.
Is it warmer there?
Please say no.
is who there?
Is it warmer there?
Warmer? No, no. It's all in the same basic area. So High Glade is definitely not. It's the upper altitudes of the Dales. So there is a great article on the um, World Anvil about High Glade. It is published and public, so you should be able to go there and read what you like. It talks about some of the things. So, for example, um, High Glade, the dales of High Glade are broad sloping valleys cradled between hills and ridges. Their grassy pastures are ideal for cattle grazing and sheep herding. They have lots of glades of old trees, some sacred to the local folk. They dot the valleys. Small pockets of wilderness are left untouched for generations. The lakes that lie within the dales are cold and pristine, their water turquoise blue from glacial runoff. Some say they are blessed by old spirits, and a few are rumored to be bottomless. Cooler temperatures prevail with early frost in autumn and long winters. Snow falls earlier and heavier here than in the lower lands, making warm hearth, strong timbered halls essential for survival. Um, so the high gladers are sturdy folk. This goes for those in thornbrush. There are various things. So there's the Old Glade are home to ancient trees, their roots twisting deep into the land's history. Some are said to whisper in the wind, and others are marked with strange runes from an age long past. The hollow lakes, those lakes with no visible bottom, are feared by the locals as some say things still beneath the water. They stir beneath the water, waiting for the right moment to surface once more. Wolves, bears, and great black stags roam the forest edges, but it is the sight of a pale elk that foretells the coming of a harsh winter. Ancient cairns and ruined watchtowers dot the higher all the ridges, remnants of a long forgotten order of guardians, maybe ancestors of the Red Guardians, who knows? So Thornbrush is the seat of this new Baron, Marshal Jared Maximus. Ooh, headlining in the article there. It sits atop a broad ridge commanding a view of two converging valleys. The land around the manor is rugged but fertile, with pasture lands, a small orchard, and a forest glade that has long been kept as a gathering place for the people. The folk of Thornbush Village, though wary of new lords, respect strength and fairness, so they've taken to Jared fairly well.
And I bring to the attention some of the local legends and mention that to the people sitting at the table. I'm telling them that in addition to us seeing what we can find in any old scrolls or writings or journals, um, these places are of interest if you want to go and investigate them first. I look at Ashton. Ashton,
Sounds
any
good to
interest?
me.
Yeah, I was waiting on Chewbacca to give him a chance to speak up first. But Ashton, she's excited for all of it. Someplace new, something new. She's all down for it.
Okay. Let's make our way to the old glades with the ancient trees first before we hit the book studies.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just get some
Go ahead.
provisions, a couple of backpacks or whatever's necessary for us to head out.
Okay. As you're getting ready to head out, you talk to Ewan. Ewan Hallow is your stable hand, and so you go talk to him to see if any of the horses are ready to go. Can you get them ready, etc. Not necessarily a short walk to get to the Old Glade.
Right.
So as you are there, someone comes running around the corner in quite a rush, breathing rather heavy. It's Osric, your games master. So he is a gamekeeper. He's usually pretty quiet, sharp-eyed, always watching the wilds. But he comes running around the corner, looking quite disheveled, as if he's been running for a while, and through long breaths, trying to catch up to, or having his breath catch up with him, perhaps. He says, "My lord, something has happened, and I think it warrants your attention. There's a Corbin. Corbin is he's I don't know if you know him, but he's been a gamekeeper before me. He's getting on in his years, but he's been hurt, and I don't know who else to talk to. But he's in the village, and he is not well, sir, and his eyes, they're vacant, and he's saying strange things. He mentioned the Old Glade."
How strange. Okay. No, of course. We will head there at once. Is there? Yes. Let us assess. We'll head there first, and I get him to drink. Get him something to drink. Try to get him to catch his breath as we get our stuff together to head back to Corbin's.
Yeah, he thanks you. He does drink deeply from a skin, and he says, "Yeah, it's I I don't know. Corbin was a mentor of mine. Taught me some of the
Did he
some of the best of what I
become
know."
suddenly ill, or was it? You know him. Was he ill all along, and it just took a turn for the worse? I'm just trying to assess whether or not this is a natural progression of a pre-existing
No,
condition, or if it just came out of the blue.
that's what worries me, my lord. It's that he went hunting, tracking not far from the Old Glade in some other forest there, and he's come back a changed man. I don't know
Let
what to
us
think of it.
let us go. We'll make our way there immediately.
Okay, so you guys head to the village.
I will take some supplies with me in case he
Okay.
doesn't have it. I don't know the state of his, you know, home, if he has bandages or anything like that. Anything that could be used to help a sick person.
Okay. Very good.
Leeches?
So what's that?
Leeches?
I don't know. I don't know if leeches are needed, but I I guess a jar of leeches are coming along with this.
All right.
An
So
exorcist?
in the right, who knows? Maybe the so Yarick Osric, leads you to where he is at, and as you step into the small um, abode, you see um, a man lying on a kind of like a cot, and he is not doing all that well.
Black screen. Is that what we should be seeing right now?
Nope, it sure
Okay.
is not.
Why?
Let me fix
I'll
that.
interrupt you, and I
Yeah,
apologize for that. Not
no,
trying to
you
be
do
rude,
that.
but I didn't want you to
Nope.
continue on just a black screen.
Yeah, nope. I will show you the village you are in. Okay, so Corbin is laying on this cot. It's got some furs and blankets and such, and he is looking definitely worse for the wear. So let's see. I think I can do this just to give you an idea of what he's looking like. Um, that should pop that up for you.
What the? Is that a bite wound? I
Um,
take a look at it.
yeah. So he has this vacant look in his eyes. Um, he mutters. It's hard to make out what he's saying because he's feverish and he's not doing well. He's very disoriented. He says something like, as his eyes suddenly widen, and his breath is very short when he says this. He's like, "The roots, they they move. The stones breathe." And then he kind of goes back into his little fever.
Is there a
Um,
apothecary in the village?
I don't know. Is there? What do you
I
think?
would say yes.
Okay. Well, there's
I
someone.
have I
And
have Osric fetch them.
yep. All right. Very tense he is. He says they weren't there before. I'll check again. And he goes and he says, I'll bring them right back.
Okay.
Um,
Um, I clasp the man's hand firmly. Um, you are not alone. Uh, what did this to you, the roots? Did the roots do this to you?
you talk to him. You don't really see your words registering with him. He just is like not present. You look at some of his wounds. Um, he he has some gashing wounds, festering, um, but also something kind of spreading underneath his skin, as if infection is going. It's his skin almost.
Hmm. All right. Is there anything that I would have prepped in the bag for fevers that we
This
would
poor
prep
man.
at that time? I look at my
He must be
comrades.
in terrible pain.
Are any of them in a position to assist him? Do any of them have any
Who are you
medical?
looking to?
I would look at Ashrin and Chewbacca. Basically, I'm looking at everybody.
Hmm. Okay.
Ashrin's looking pretty shocked herself. She's not really seen this level of like gruesome before. And yeah, she looks pretty helpless in this situation.
I am very upset about his hurting. I think we should find some way to ease his pain.
Let's see. Hopefully, Osric will return with the apothecary. I did put in the bag some dressings, some
Sure. So you've got some
honeys,
bandages and
some salve.
Sure.
basic stuff, that would have gotten a warrior through some injury, but this is well and above and exceeding it. I would probably have like a little teeny tiny task of some sort of opioid or something to ease with pain, since we didn't really have aspirin back in the day. If I have that, I can give him like a drop of it just to ease the pain, but not anything more than that.
Are you breaking up here? No.
Do you have whiskey?
Say that again, you broke up.
Yeah,
Do
I was
you
wondering
have
if.
whiskey?
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I do have whiskey, because I would have poured it over a cut or anything like that, I'll give that to him.
All right. Well, you
You
pour
try to
something
get him to drink
onto
some whiskey.
one of his wounds, and he suddenly tenses up in pain, as might be expected, and goes, "The shadow, not shadow." And then he kind of falls limp again, as maybe succumbs to the pain and loses consciousness for a minute.
Did it bubble up? Did it do anything? Did it just?
Didn't. It's just apparently hurt a lot.
Yeah, well, that is not the intention we're going for. So
Ashrin will kind of nervously ask, "What's wrong with him?"
I've not seen something like this, but something attacked him apparently. And from his delirious state, he said the roots and the stones and beware of the shadows to the very glade we were going to go and investigate. So I think more than ever now we need to go and find out what's happening, what's there that could do such a thing to a man, and perhaps find a cure to this if this exceeds our ability to treat. I don't know. It depends on what the apothecary that Osric brings back.
Yeah. And just about then, he walks in and he says, I've got the wisdom. And it's a young woman. She's probably in her late 20s. And she looks and she goes, "Oh my." And she begins, she goes over to his side, lays out a leather, a roll. She rolls it out and it's got little bottles and different things. And she begins to work on a poultice.
He has some sort of rash that's spreading. Be mindful of it as you examine him.
I see. I've not seen anything like this before.
No,
Where?
he said he got it from the glade. So, the Old Glade. I'm gonna go and investigate this, but please do what you can for him.
I will have been praying the rest of the time.
Okay.
I
And
put my arm.
who do you pray to, sir?
What's that?
Who do you pray to when you pray?
Um, I guess any gods that are good at healing and compassion.
Is there someone you can think of by
If I
name?
don't, I'm not certain what the gods are in this place.
Well, narrator to player, you certainly can be certain if you wish. You may name the god that you pray to, and that's world building live right there. So,
I will pray to
alright.
the god Ashram.
How do you spell that?
ASHRAM.
Very similar.
The great
Mhm.
healer.
The god of compassion and healing.
Mhm.
Yes.
Huh?
Sounds like a good
Oh.
place to start. I put my hand firmly on Osric's shoulder and I go, I'm gonna head to the glade now. I want to find out what did this to this man and prevent it from doing it for any other good folk. Watch over him and don't let anybody else go to the glade.
I am coming.
All right. Are you guys headed toward the Old Glade then? Is that where you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You come out of this little hovel and start heading down the street. And you see another interesting sight. On one of the buildings that you are approaching to pass, you see you see some markings in red paint brushed on the like the door jamb of this other little hovel, and people are looking at it and kind of talking amongst themselves in alarm. They look concerned.
As I pass by and I see them, I go, what is that?
One of the men that's looking at it, I can't rightly say. Um, the I've come to my little shop here. I just, you know, it's just a little shop, but someone has painted this strange warning above my door, which was open when I arrived.
Ashton, can you make a copy of this image in your book?
Yeah, sure. She,
Did they?
uh,
Your door was open. Were you burgled?
There, I no, I don't think so. Um,
yeah,
and
Ashton will
then
try to make a copy of
okay,
the symbol in her notebook.
the woman next to him says, "Aye, and I've one of my cattle was found dead at the edge of my land. Dead, throat split wide open, not eaten, just left there.
No
Something
additional markings on it other than the slit throat?
just, I, perhaps claw marks.
Claw marks. Were they long claw marks?
Yes,
Could they have been caused by, I'm trying to think of the local animals, anything large enough to do that? A bear or
but why would a bear do that? A bear would eat the cow. We've had problems like that before. That's what we've got dogs for. But the dogs didn't make nary a peep last night.
man. All right. We'll investigate that afterwards, after the glade. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. Any other occurrence that you find strange? And when did this start?
Well, it was last night. I don't, I don't know. I think, I, I'm telling you, something's happening. Something's happening here.
Do I
The
see
dogs
any other
seemed like they
buildings
were
have that
afraid of
marking?
something.
They seem like they're afraid. These things, these weird things don't happen here.
The markings, are they on any other buildings?
I haven't heard. I haven't looked. Perhaps.
Take note. Walk and find out if it's on any other buildings. We do have like a town guard, or I guess an office, right? With our local town guards, or to any effect to that.
Marshal in your town. Yeah.
I would want an additional evening watch introduced. Just now that we're seeing this A, vandalism, and B, mysterious cattle death, uh, and the fact that the building was, we don't know if it wasn't or wasn't burgled, but I'm not going to take any chances. So I tell the shop owner just to find out, or have them send one of the guards around to see if any other buildings have that information, that marking, and any other strange occurrences, and report to the estate later this evening.
Okay. They will.
Right.
They make it clear that the grapevine in this town will bring them that information soon enough.
That's what I'm hoping. All right, so we will continue on our way.
Okay. You right. So you head toward the Old Glade, and as you go, um, you will be um, you'll be walking for probably like at least an hour, maybe two, to get there, and so it's a few miles away. As you go, you do hear a horse coming closer from behind you, and as you look back, you see the horse has got a small person on the horse riding towards you. Eventually, the horse catches you, and the boy that is on there hands you a note, and he uh, he looks kind of expectantly at you. He goes,
I open up.
it's from Osric Vale, sir."
I open it up, and I look at it.
Okay. And
What?
while you do, the boy looks, kind of leans towards you a little bit, looking at you, kind of like his eyes drop to, your belt, and then back up again, and then back down to the belt and back up again. You look at it, it is a note from Osric. He says, whatever it was took him. Before he died, more ramblings. Something about an oath, a, maybe a broken oath. I don't know what to make of it, but our village lost a good man today, Osric.
Let Osric know that we will do our everything to find out what happened here, and if possible, there's no way to make this right, but we can have an accounting. And I pat the boy on his back and said, well done. Head back. Do not tarry.
Okay, so for now, we will consider that Maya maybe was left in town to help investigate all that business that was going on with symbols and open doors and whatnot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let me know when you don't see a black screen.
We're good right now. We're on the road.
All right. So ahead, I think your burned tongue has eventually just kind of you'll be peeling some skin off inside your mouth later,
But
and
it put a pep in your step.
yeah, you still got a little bit of caffeine pumping. It's new to you. It's quite so much, maybe. I don't know,
Yeah,
from coffee.
yeah, it's new.
So very strong coffee, but you got that. All right. So um, you begin to um, approach the Old Glade. So here represented with kind of this purple background. The Old Glade is, well, old for a reason. It looks very much like a very, very old forest where the roots of the trees are entangled and even sometimes, lifted off the ground to help try to get the old oak trees and other kinds of trees up off the ground um, to reach higher, perhaps. As you approach, you see what looks like maybe a big stag from behind. I mean, it's hard to make out exactly, but it is you see the horns, you see the shape of the stag's head from behind a bush that it's kind of sticking up over. Large rack of horns. This is a big boy, almost maybe like elk quality, and it's moving oddly, like, and then it stops and kind of looks your direction, and
Is it
kind of
injured? I mean, is it got a weird gait?
yeah, yeah, not a normal kind of gait. Normally, I mean, you've seen plenty of deer and elk and whatnot, and they kind of lope, right? They kind of move, and their head bobs. This head didn't move like that. Um, but
How
now
are
it's
the eyes on it?
you can't. It's too far away.
Is
You're
it
just
Okay.
making out the
oozing?
shape. There's a kind of a mist as well.
Does it have any sign oozing the black viper?
Too far away to tell at this point.
We're gonna head down the path. I take it it's kind of further down the path, correct? Into
Yeah.
that. Is it looking like it's standing guard or just haphazardly is?
It's hard to tell at this point, but it has stopped and is watching you. As you get a little bit closer, you are a little bit concerned to see that this stag is a a skull, a stag's skull, but wrapped in ratty fur around it. But definitely the face is skeletal only. There you don't see eyes. You don't see just the horns and the skull head, and then fur down the whole neck.
So if we're that close to be able to make that out, is there any miasma attached to it, or it's just an undead creature?
Looks like it could be an undead creature, but then it it kind of perks up as if it were um, I don't know. Deer and elk don't crouch per se, but like it was lower, but it kind of stands up perky and turns to run away, and it looks to you like there's no back end of it, like, or it's running on its back legs, and it runs out of sight into that dense forest, jumping,
Well,
not like
Ashrin.
a
Yeah,
normal
Ashrin gives
animal.
out a little eep and actually hides
Yeah,
behind
yeah, I
the
was gonna
two
say you
soldiers.
wanted to see things.
Welcome to
I
things.
deliver your first
Is,
undead.
is this really common here in this part of the world?
If you asked any other man or person, they would probably say no. I have seen a thing or two, but I'm not going to say it's still common. That was not common. So I pull out my blade and adjust my shield and make my way further down that path. I'm studying the path to see if I find any indication of the what was that gentleman's name? Osric's mentor.
Corbin
Corbin.
Yar.
If I have any indication that Corbin came rushed through here.
Well, now would be a good time to have a tracker for that, but
Yeah.
she stayed behind. However, there
Can
are
make a roll.
some tracks. You can certainly try to figure something out. Yep.
All right. This would just be a straight out roll, right? Because either
Good
it's going to work or
discovery.
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Ashrin would try and look for some clues.
Okay.
All right. So I would. Is this considered? This is where I'm actually going to dive into the sheet. Is this a core move with
Yeah. So you're
a
either going to do a quick
quick outcome
outcome or a
and
tracked
execute the
outcome.
move?
Yes, and then move that window aside so that you can start clicking on things that you think make sense that would be a
Right.
direct help or hindrance.
This is going to be a quick roll because I really don't have anything that's going to help me right at this second.
I might have a couple things, so.
If you do, I would defer to you, my friend. I look at
Oh.
Ashrin and I see Ashrin taking some keen interest, and I'm just
Yeah.
about to wing it. So I'm like, do you see something? That
You can roll your own discovery roll. Totally cool.
Both go about it our own ways.
Okay. Core, quick outcome, execute move, zone modifier, confirm, don't ban a tag.
So which tags did you use? I didn't even see that come up.
I didn't use any tags.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. So for Ashrin, attention to detail, curious, and on a pilgrimage.
I selected that one purely for the part of what we're doing is trying to navigate, kind of like track through the field and the woods and stuff. That on pilgrimage, getting through terrain and stuff like that, finding a good path and those sorts of things comes up often.
Okay. Fair enough. And then I want to add. Going to add gullible in there because I think that might also lead you
Yeah.
to false answers. So go ahead and do that. All right. So, Jared, you see definitely boot tracks here, but you see a lot of them, not just one. And from what you can tell, they seem recent enough. Like they,
All right, so then I'll focus on those. I'll point them out to Ashton and say, I think these are likely candidates. What does Ashton say?
Asher, what are you looking for in particular?
Um, she was looking, since what we were, I guess, originally kind of what brought up the tracking stuff was to try to find where, um, was it
That
Corbin?
hunter had been here.
Corbin?
Yeah.
Yeah, where he had kind of come from. It'd be similar. It would be kind of human tracks.
Okay. Okay. So I would say that you've, with what's going on, you've used up your caffeine supply at this point. So I'm going to just pull that off of you. So we won't use that next time. You got one good use out of it.
Yep.
Um, and you agree that there's multiple people that have been on this trail recently, not just one hunter who had a really bad day or night and found his way back barely. Definitely more than one. To kind of back that up, you're a little close. You've wandered a little further ahead, looking at some of the other things. This is maybe where your curiosity got got you ahead there, because you noticed that there's
Yep.
these things. But then coming right from the glade, not far away, you hear a shrill scream of help.
Start running that way.
I as well.
Ashern's going to be a little slow on uh, the the jog, but when she sees the other two running that direction, she'll follow behind.
Okay. All right, as you get closer, um, you're looking for any sign of whoever this person is that's in distress. It could be, sounded like a woman, hard to tell, maybe a girl, or maybe something else. Maybe you didn't hear help. Because as you get closer to the edge of the woods, you don't see any signs of anyone else in distress. You call out, hello, and there's nothing.
I look at my two comrades and I say, it could be a trap. Be on alert.
From further in the glade somewhere, muffled by old wood and leaf covered branches and vines and shrubbery, you hear, help, deeper, not the same. Help me.
Ashern will say, "There's another," and start heading that direction.
Hold.
I
Asher,
have my weapon up.
this
She
could be a trap.
she says, "But someone's calling for help."
And some child or woman called for help no more than a couple of minutes ago. So we need to be mindful. Whatever thing attacked Corbin, I have a feeling it's sentient. And trickery is definitely not something that I wouldn't put past it. You've heard of the creatures in the woods. Old lore.
I haven't, but I'd love to hear that. But I don't think now's a good time.
Just be careful as we make our way forward. Still in a clearing. I don't want to get any of the trees or roots around me surrounding me. Is there any point where it suddenly becomes a choke point, where the vines and the trees are actually starting to get dense?
They are dense from the get-go. So you're on the edge, and um, at at the point it stops being the edge, like when you're past the first several trees and plants, it definitely starts to grow dark and very quiet and tangled. There's brambles and thorns, as you would expect, but also very twisted trees. The some trees grew around each other, tangling the trunks, winding up toward the sky, very thick at the bottom and narrowing as it gets higher, with branches coming off in random directions, like so many arms reaching out to try to find some drip of sunlight.
Is any sunlight coming through the canopy now, or is it starting to get dark?
It's very dark.
All
It
right,
gets
so
dark very quickly from the edge.
I light a torch.
All right, so you pull out your torch from your pack and you hold it in your crook of your arm while you're trying to light it up. It's already been doused and dried with oil, so it's a little greasy feeling. And you light it up, and as soon as one spark hits the torch and it begins to catch, um, there is a shrill scream from the left.
What do we see?
You quickly
Is there
look over
anything?
there, and there's just the quiet woods. And from the right, a loud crack, like like a tree when it is starting to give, like you've been chopping through it, and it cracks as it falls over. So loud crack like that, but no movement.
I see.
The sound's coming from further than you can see, but definitely not that far away. You lift your torch up, hoping to see better.
But I only
All
see
it
darkness,
all
right?
it does is add dancing shadows, regular movements.
I keep what Corbin had mentioned in mind, the shadows and the roots. I don't see anything moving, right?
No, just what your flames
Well,
are casting and the shadows behind the very thick branches and thick roots and twisted trunks. As your torchlight plays across it, it creates moving shadows on the and shrubberies and bushes that are all behind each of these trees. You're looking around.
Who is out there? Let yourself be known.
It's kind of an echoey whisper. You can't make out any words. And
I
then there's
can't.
kind of
No
another
one can
whisper.
in the in the party.
It
Is it just
doesn't
me,
seem
or
like it's saying words. It's just kind of whispering sounds. You can hear the sibilance of the S's and some vowel sounds here and there as the whispering itself is broken up. Can't make out any particular speech.
Ashton's gonna look to Jared and ask, "What should we do?"
We should investigate if there's something here. Something attacked one of our town folks, caused his death. I need to account for it. I cannot have a dangerous thing living on the outskirts of town. I need to
maybe-
understand why this happened.
Then maybe we should go deeper.
I take it at this point, if we look around, there's no path, correct? It would just be going over these routes and everything.
Yes, at this
Is there a
point,
path?
right. No, there is
Okay.
there's no clear path. There may be places where you can certainly work out this winding way through the glade, where it's going to be easier for you. You're not going to have to machete your way through it or anything. But it's certainly not like a path where it's like, oh, that goes kind of curves to the left there. No, this would be meandering to find the least, that like literally the path of least resistance through this tangled wood.
I look at my two comrades. Are you ready to proceed?
Ashton's going to
Yes.
uh,
I have
concentrate.
impatience on my face. Well,
She'll concentrate for a little bit and try to create a torch of mage fire atop her staff.
Okay. How bright do you want it to be?
Well, she's the most recent torch she's seen to be able to like visualize and copy is the one Jared is using. So she's just basically going to copy that.
Okay. And what kinds of things might complicate your life should your magic not do what you want it to do? What kind of consequences might you suffer if you don't do it well?
In general, they exhaust over time, whether you succeed or fail at them.
Okay. So describe to me then what efforts you go through to copy Jared's torch to your own staff.
So she, grips her staff in both her hands, holds it in front of her, and closes her eyes as she mentally reconstructs the image of a torch fire in her head, and then reaches out to the power of the twin stars that she feels inside her, as well as radiating off of the star metal in her staff, and channels it into that. Kind of tries to like project that image out onto the star metal tip, creating the fire there.
Very good. All right. So we're looking to probably generate at least 2 power, so you can create a tag, and then go ahead and make a roll. How much do your stars need to be in view or feeling close out underneath the night sky to them for your magic to really be well powered?
That's
Or
one
is
of
that
the
not, or is it not a thing?
That's one of the strange things their order doesn't really understand is it doesn't seem, well, while the stars seem to be the source of their power, nighttime or daytime doesn't seem to have an effect on them.
Indoors and outdoors.
I'm
Correct.
gonna be right back. I need to step away for a couple minutes.
Above ground, underground.
Though, yes, perhaps like some materials or something might dull their connection to the stars.
Okay, cool. Just curious. Yeah, we'll do a tracked roll.
Okay.
Metal tip staff, novice, astromancer, attention to detail, good memory, requires concentration. All right, cool. Let's see what happens. All right. So with a 10 and a power of 3, you can certainly create a tag. So you can do it or I can do it. Then you can call it something like twinned torch or just torch if you want or anything like that, however you
Is
want to
this
flavor it.
under the story tags, correct?
Yes, correct. Mage fire torch. Love it. Perfect.
Yeah, it's a kind of a twinkling blue fire.
Gotcha. It just looks and behaves like Marshall Jared's regular torch, but uses starlight or something, right? Mage fire. Cool.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Very cool. So you now have a mage fire torch at your disposal. We'll give Jared a torch that he had in his backpack. I think we'll just bring that out. All right. Very good. Then, okay. So let me get to my notes where I'm looking for. All right. So the yeah, you create this fire and you've got this luminescent blue flame lighting the area around you. Jared has his orange torch flame going brightly and where he's at, just a few feet away, not quite within arm's reach, but close. And the forest ahead,
Back.
the forest ahead. So she is she's lit a mage fire torch. So it's got this luminescent blue, bright blue flame that sparkles with starlight. Right? Is that about right? And yeah. So so she's covering to the right of you. You've got your torch to the left. Chewie's in the back between the two of you watching. And from ahead, maybe 20 yards away, in the dark from up above in the trees, suddenly a huge gout of flame spews out and lights that whole area up. You can see there's smoke or mist, and it kind of sways back and forth a little bit while this gout of flame shoots out, and then there is some roaring rumble that comes along with it, and then it goes dark again, leaving you in just your two pools of light.
Did you all saw what I
Chewbacca.
saw?
Yeah, Chewbacca, what do you do? How does he react to seeing that?
I already have my sword out and everything.
You gonna go take on the Jabberwock?
Yes.
You are. Okay, so do you just charge right in, leaping over large obstacles like low branches, big
Oh,
tangly
no,
roots?
because
You
I
don't
have
have
team tactics and stand fast, so I'm not going to rush into things. I'm going to try and use Jared, support Jared, and keep him from being surrounded and to stand fast. I guess
yeah.
maybe to give a tag of, you know, of working with Jared.
I tell
Okay.
them to be careful. It hasn't attacked us, but that doesn't mean it won't. There's something here, that's for sure.
So we didn't see what spewed all the fire, right?
No, no, you just saw definitely the flames, and it lit up
Right.
trees and branches and
And it came from above us.
higher. Yeah, like maybe 10 to 15 feet up, like it was, and the bellowing roar was very low um, toned, very deep, throaty.
I yell out, a good man died in these woods. I would know what for.
I'm also bringing in protecting the weak.
Okay.
The
All
I
right.
guess that's
fire
all.
fire that bellowed out onto the forest, is it like still burning, or did it
No,
extinguish?
it extinguished, but there's maybe some little tiny flames of
It
things, and they go
singes
out very
yeah.
quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, where things were singed. That's right. So it didn't like catch things on. There's no
But
dry wood here. It's all
mitigate the
old.
Okay.
consequences.
It was like a quick burst of flame, right?
Yeah, it lasted a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 seconds.
But no image was seen in that flame.
You did not see what bellowed out the flame.
I mean, the flames were probably too bright to see through.
It swept it swept out from something, and then you saw it light up a lot of forest between the 20 yards away that it was to you. It lit up a lot of that stuff, but it was very bright, and yeah. So
Did it clear a bit of a path?
no, it didn't clear anything. It just burned. It just so where it hit
Okay.
trees and tree trunks, it just singed them. It didn't even light anything
Right.
on fire.
Okay.
It just came
No,
from
you
back there, and so
right.
that's why it's hard to even see because there are a lot of trees over 20 yards between here and there, right? So 20 yards away is quite it's quite a bit of this kind of terrain. So
So, is this mitigate consequences?
So no, that's if I'm going to do harm to
Quick
you or
outcome
do
or a tracked outcome?
tracked outcome, because you said you were going to try to create a tag or a status for Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say in a strong voice that carries through the woods, know this. We do not come to harm you, but we will defend ourselves. A good man died in these woods, and I want to know why. Account for yourself. I don't get anything to that, right?
Nope. All right, so you did create a power of 2, so you can create a tag with that. What's the name of the tag you want to put on Jared? This will be a noun, or you can put a level 2 status on him.
I guess defended from.
Okay, so that sounds like a status. So we're going to do defended 2. Okay. All right, so he's got your back there. Yeah, now the defended 2 status. All right. So now there is a very low, like you've heard, imagine like a mountain lion's very guttural, throaty growl. You hear something like that, very low, almost tinny. I don't know how to say that. Almost to the point of being metallic in sound. But, then what you hear is, I am the oath keeper. Leave now. Return to your village, or you will surely die.
I am an oath keeper too, and I've come to find out why one of my villagers died.
Ye tread forbidden ground.
Was it by accident? Were they clearly marked?
Drop your sword and leave now.
I
Is
will
this
sheath my
area
sword,
actually belong to
but I will
you?
not drop my sword.
Jaren?
What did you say, Chu?
Is this
What?
area owned by you, Jaren?
I
No, not per se. You've got lands that you kind of cover that little village that you're in, plus your own land and some area around it. But this is part of High
primordial and
Glade, not
outside of the wood.
it's
This is
like part
outside
of
of the scale.
by High Glade. This is part of that land area, the region of High Glade, but not necessarily your holdings. There is
So I'm curious as
this.
to why your hunt master was here.
Who are you talking to?
Jaren?
Jared? Okay. Jared? He wants to know why your hunter was here.
Well,
I almost hear a, is it worth it, man?
from what
Yeah.
Osric had said, he said he was Gameskeeper, correct?
Yeah, kind of retired, not an official game, just so he
Yeah.
was hunting.
So it's only safe to assume that he might have been hunting. Stumbled in here pursuing game. Oathkeeper, no offense was meant, but it resulted in the death of one of my people. I cannot go back without assurances that this will be prevented in the future. If you're telling me there's a section of the forest you don't want them to trespass, I need to know what it is. I can't convey that message without that knowledge.
The Oathkeeper's deep voice echoes through the muffled area, and he bellows, "You talk too much. I have been awakened. I will come for you. Leave now, or you will be mine." And that threat comes with a certain rumble in his voice, but then there's also sounds of wood cracking to the left, and somewhere in the shadows that your flames cast, you do see kind of some other movement. It looks like another skull of what could only be, must be like a very large grizzly bear with nasty fur, like attached to the skull and going down through the neck to the body. And there is a large claw that just rakes down a tree that it is apparently standing near. And it's more like a shadow, but it definitely looks skeletal, like its head is all
Long nails,
there's
like the
no
type
ear.
that could kill a cow.
Like no, like more like a bear, a huge bear claw.
We've had
And
encroachment in our lands, in our towns. Do you have anything to do with it?
I have been awakened. Prepare tribute or prepare for the next life. All right. It is going to then make a shout. This is a very loud bellow, and it will send fear through you because it doesn't sound human at all. It sounds very not human, very demonic, maybe very monstery. And so I want you to try to, if you would like to mitigate, you
Yep.
may. But Jared, Chewbacca, and Ashran, you have this wave of fear pressing onto you right now. I'm going to give you a afraid 3 unless you can mitigate some of that.
I'm going to use my mercenary fighter, my team tactics, and my stand fast. Protect the weak.
Tracked outcome. This, or no, it's mitigate. So use that move.
I've seen ungodly things. Does that give me any advantage? That thing we fought by the well was pretty horrific.
I think I'm going to give you a nightmare weakness. I know you have those.
Mhm.
And choose your battles. I don't think mercenary fighter or team tactics applies, but stand fast is for sure there. I think protect the weak, you can do something with that. And then cruelty should be bad. I'm going to not allow that one either. All right. Roll those. You're going to get some growth.
So why doesn't mercenary fighter and team tactics
Because
work? Because I'm here to protect them
yeah. So I
and
don't
to
think there's
save them.
anything team tactic-y about um, like fighting off the fear. I understand how you can, yeah. But as far as having a direct effect, I don't see team tactics being um, anti-fear, like, right? You're not doing anything in particular.
Well,
So that's why. So when you choose tags, they need to apply directly to what your action is or what the
Is this a
circumstance
mitigate
is.
consequence
It
or
is.
attract?
yes,
Yeah.
but I don't
So
want to run because I have to help.
I understand.
I have to help
Yep.
Jared. So I would team tactics not count.
I'm going to give you defended 2 because you know you got someone's got your back. Definitely Mr. Courage. Defend the weak. I let him defend the weak, so can handle a blade. Nope. Wasn't born yesterday. Do you think
I've
this is trying to
seen
fool you?
I've seen things. I've seen ungodly things. So
Hmm.
it's not as if like I've never seen it.
2 ones.
Eek.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, so a 2's not great. In this case, um, that's not going to be enough boost. Even if I gave you those 2 tags that we talked about, team tactics and whatever, it wouldn't have been enough to go. So in this case, you are going to take afraid 3. I'm going to add that to you right now. All right. So you definitely are and feeling very nervous about whatever this thing is you've never encountered before and how forcefully it is bellowing. Ashwin, how is your roll coming?
Had no power, but
Oh, I see. So you rolled an 8, and you always get 1 power to mitigate the consequences. So you're going to have afraid 1 less. So afraid 2. Okay. So it's building. When you reach a status of 5, you're taken out, right? 6 is permanently changed, as in like dead. Or it's like you could have a heart attack if you were afraid 6, right? And just die. So right now you're there, you're on the path, but Jared, did I see your roll? There it is. So you had a 9, so you get to spend 3 power to mitigate the consequences. So you can reduce afraid from 3 to 0. So you don't take an afraid status, but you felt it. It's only through mustering courage and the fact that you've seen stuff already. But man, you
Yeah, I
definitely,
take it. It's real. I mean, it's the genuine bona fide
yeah, out of your
thing.
nightmares. Yep. And the sentimentality of this has harmed people already, and it looks like it intends to do more. It's been awakened. All right. So the question now is, with 2 of you very much feeling the fear, you're not there where you're crippled by it, but it will hinder you being bold and brave and things like that. That will count against you. But with that being the case, do you want to retreat? Do you think it's a good idea right now to retreat, or do you think that you should steel your soul against this thing that's definitely got some might or power to it and has expressed some interest? It wants to be appeased. It's asking for tribute or demanding it, not asking. Prepare tribute or prepare to die. Leave now.
Ashrin is all for running and getting to do some research on whatever the heck an Oath Keeper is.
So you glance sideways over at Jared with wide eyes, and you're shaking a little bit. Your staff is showing it.
Okay.
Chewbacca,
It
what are you doing?
it wants tribute. I pull out my bottle of whiskey and I go spirits for spirits. And I place that down on the ground.
Okay.
And I take 2 steps back.
All right. What do you two do as Jared starts to take a very tactical, slow retreat, maybe?
Ashrin is a little less composed than him. And yeah, she becomes, you know, briskly walking away.
Okay.
I am
Ashrin.
caught upon. I am caught upon dilemma because I want to follow Ashrin, but I also want to stand with Jared.
Yeah. So Jared's already taken a couple steps back. Do you want to help cover his retreat? You can probably easily do that, but
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'd want to take
but I want to
something
also
on
make
like that with
sure
a
that
full complement, not less than the full team, especially when you've already been kind of a little debilitated with fear.
Well, and as you guys might be able to gather at this time, Ashrin is not battle hardened or anything.
No, but I've gotten a lot of answers for what happened in these woods. That was actually my goal. I wasn't going to leave without understanding. I understand now what's happening.
do you? Do you really?
To a degree. To a degree. More than I knew coming in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you guys back your way out of the woods, and then back when you're in the sunlight, then you sort of.
Ashrin continues walking all the way back to town.
Okay.
Wait, Ashrin, are you okay?
No. Did you see and hear and feel what I did?
I stand in front of her, put my hands on her shoulder, and I go, I told you there were things that we don't know exist, and we were going to go find them. Congratulations. This is your first initiation.
Is that an attempt to help her?
Yeah.
It's to put her a little bit more at ease.
I
She's
see.
actually out in the sun. She
I told
avoided
you.
death. There are a
Wait.
lot of things that are good.
You didn't die. Good job. Okay.
Yes, I'm boiling it down to the basic essentials.
Great.
Very
Okay.
compassionate.
I told you there were monsters. You met one. You're still
You lived.
alive. Good job.
Pat,
See?
pat, pat.
Life is good. Nice. Okay. Chewbacca, what are you doing? You are definitely this
That is in line with my old gruff attitude.
there you go.
So
Yeah, there it is. Indeed. So, Chewbacca,
say
how
to
are you
Jared,
dealing with this?
this is not the hill to die on. It's time to leave.
Ashrin agrees wholeheartedly.
Good. All right.
No.
So you guys head back
study
towards the
this.
village.
we need to find
As
out what are
Jared turns
these.
around, I'm like,
You were saying Chewbacca?
as Jared turns around, I'm like, I was worried that he was wanting to stay there.
I was for a second going to engage it. But then I saw the blanched expression on Ashton's face. And you
So,
would have
yeah.
followed to death. So I made a decision. This was not the battle I wanted. But we need to know our foe. All we know is that it's an old guardian that was awakened. Apparently, it takes its protection very seriously. It could have killed us or engaged us, but it must have some sense of honor. If all it takes is a small minor tribute to keep it at bay, I'd have to think on it. It's not going to
Well,
bring Corbin back to life, but at least we understand what happened and can make it so that no one else joins Corbin. What would have happened had we engaged it? Potentially have died? Let's just say we were serendipitous and survived. But let's say we died. Others would have come after us. Others would have died. There is a responsibility to the town folks.
Ashrin was not waiting
I
for you to
agree.
finish your
Let's
soliloquy,
run away.
and she has completely kept walking towards town.
As you get
Let's run
further
away.
away,
Run away another day.
your fears in the moment abate to a degree, but there is some lingering fear and uncertainty. Do you keep your torch burning, by the way?
Yeah, until she gets back to town. It's
I don't. I put
her
mine out.
safety blanket.
Okay. Yep. In the daylight, you don't need the torch, but I
It's
feel
just gonna be one nightmare. You'll get through it.
that could just one nightmare. That's all. That repeats over and over again
I've got a
Yeah.
ton of them.
and doesn't let you wake up. I've seen those nightmares. All right, so you get back to town. You're greeted at the edge of the village, actually by let's activate by Osric, who looks sorrowful. Uh, he said he ranted until he died. He just didn't make any sense. He said, "I thought I was alone, but I wasn't, was I?" He said something like, it wasn't just watching, it was waiting. He says he could hear it whispering his name. It knew him. And then he looked at me for the one single solitary moment of clarity and said, "It knows you now too, Osric." And then in his feverish, just before he passed, he also said, "Don't listen to it. If you listen, you'll understand. And if you understand, you'll never leave." I don't know what that means. What does that mean? And then he just let out his last shuddering breath and died. I guess now he's at peace, I hope.
Two. I would have word with the. I guess we would have a constable and an
So
alderman.
Ashrin speaks up real quick. She seems much more focused now and in control of her emotions. And she looks to both Jared and Chewbacca and says, "You're old. You know any stories about this?"
Well, that was what we were going to look into earlier. It just kind of beat us to the punch. Now we have to. And I look at Osric, who's probably having a very confused look. There is something in the forest. We need to understand it better. And the forest is off limits, Osric.
So
Make
you
that
don't know
clearly
anything
known.
about this.
Can we roll to see if we've heard anything like this? I mean, would we have a chance, or is it just so obscure we really wouldn't?
I have traveled long and far. Would I have heard any stories of this?
Give a chance to do a quick roll.
Um, I don't think in any of your lifetimes or the lifetimes of anyone you've spoken to, or maybe even one more generation of lifetimes out, has anyone ever heard of anything like this? Maybe a wise old one might, by some chance, have some reference in a book to something, but even then, that is a massive stretch. This thing is millennia old.
Well, that is part of the lore that we're trying to track down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a good starting point for our next session to see if we can find an elder, a wise one.
Would it be worth going to that library that was spoken of?
Well, we were going to go and investigate with the local lore and see, but I would think that maybe something would be there, even if it's a small reference. It's worth a shot.
Mhm.
But the town should be aware of this. No one should stray there. I mean, this is within what? How many hours distance? 2, 3?
Yep, 2 to 3 hours. Yep.
That's easily done by anybody or kid during the day.
Mhm.
They must be made aware.
Well, send out word to your people, asking them to stay away from it.
And to be on guard. Just because it let us leave doesn't necessarily mean it's going to keep to its playground. We don't know. It might consider these whole lands theirs. I have no clue. But I walk over to Ashern and put my hand on her shoulder and go, "See, you survived your first encounter. I'm so proud of you."
She blushes a bit.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It doesn't get easier. But I think that's what we'll do.
Yes.
Okay. So,
First blood
right.
is
All right.
essential. Building your ways to defend yourself.
Yeah, any word on what those markings were on the building? I don't want to lose sight of the other details.
It's not known what they are. They're symbols of some sort. They found another one on the side of a barn.
Was it painted in blood?
It appears to be, yeah.
And these, I asked Osric, when did Corbin go out to the woods?
2 days ago.
When did these markings
He
appear?
was
on these
fine
buildings?
then. These villagers have reported just finding them today, but maybe they've been on higher alert after, he came back to the village, just
Right.
gone mad. It's definitely a changed
Trying
person.
to not necessarily dismiss them as unrelated. There may be a correlation there. I have no clue. The symbols. Is it the same symbol on both buildings, or are they different?
Different.
All right, so then with Ashern, we'll go and jot that one down for our studies in the coming session. I think that's good. Do you guys, any action that you want to take?
Nope.
No.
Okay. So then let's stop here and let's do kind of an end of session discussion. So one of the things to discuss is like the kind of things that go on during a camp. Like you're going to begin to do some research. It will take some time. So you can begin that process. You can go back to your manor house and spend some time gathering that information and researching it. So it says here you can rest and expire your statuses. You can reflect and mark improve. So when your character takes time to internalize and process all they've been through and to grow from it, this moment of reflection can be described as quiet contemplation time under a starry sky, or meditation, or training, or conversation, and so on. This is all a good time to reflect on each theme's quest and mark abandon or a milestone if the player sees fit to do so. So let's just go, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Is it
And
like
so,
City of Mist, where whenever your weakness is used against you, you get experience?
yeah, it's not quite
Or
like that, but it's close. That's growth.
okay.
This would be marking experience, or what they're calling now improve. Maybe they're getting.
Yeah, this has got like a positive connotation to it in the underline. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Okay.
So it's either improve or abandon. So for your motivation, so for example, peace through arms, do you feel like you accomplished a milestone of feast, feast, peace through arms?
The milestone is it like huge milestone, or is it even just in being able to face this thing in the forest, get what I needed to understand from it, and come out alive? Because that
I
was
think that's, yeah, so I
almost
think it's flexible because what you're saying is that in what I'm hearing out of the rules and kind of my expectation is when you get 3 milestones, you can evolve your theme into the next higher theme, right? So depending on how big your quest is, like maybe this quest is going to continue. Like, is it a lifelong quest? Is it the penultimate? Like, this is when I accomplish this, then I'm ready to retire kind of quest? Or is it a quest of like, this is very specific, right? I want to find the man who killed my father, and I want to say to him, my name is Inigo Montoya, right? So, so that's a quest that can be accomplished. So then my question is, a milestone would then be probably like maybe 3 stopping points along that path, maybe 4,
Okay.
maybe 5. So again, it's 100% up to you and how you envision the quest and milestones toward accomplishing it. So on the surface, from where I sit as a neutral party, I don't see a milestone for that just yet, right? Like peace, there was nothing really that you did peace through arms per se. You backed away and you successfully avoided a battle that was definitely coming your way if you didn't do something. So maybe, but you also didn't take on a battle and try to stop this thing that is going to terrorize your land. So maybe that's not right. That's not a milestone because you didn't
We
stop
haven't
it.
achieved peace yet.
Yeah, maybe, or a milestone on the way to peace. Right? It's like
Yeah,
maybe defeating this
right.
thing would be a milestone, right? Whatever this is.
Yes, that's probably what I'm gonna view
Yeah.
it as. That's what I'm looking at. It will be peaceful in the woods, and my land will
I
know better
currently
peace when
have
this is resolved.
I currently have 3 experience in devotion and skill or trade. Were those from before, or are they from now?
So that experience is what we would call growth in the rules right now, and that means that when you gain that experience, I know that I hit you with some weaknesses, so I would expect some of that to come through. Let me look. 2 experience in devotion, 1 experience in mercenary fighter. Yeah. So that came from using weaknesses, that those automatically show up. And when you achieve 3, it unleashes, like makes it available for you to add a new tag, or you can add a theme improvement. We'll look at the theme book to decide when you can do theme improvements because there's only 5 of those per theme. But anyway, you can add probably another tag. That's the easiest way to improve your theme right away. So that's what that growth does. It leads to upgrading your theme a little bit without going to the next level, right? Without becoming the adventuring theme.
Right.
You get to add more to the current theme and make it a little more versatile, or give you some more tags you can use down the road, etc. Right? So, yeah. So one more on your devotion theme, and you can improve that maybe by adding another tag, right? So answer another question and give yourself another tag, that kind of thing. All right. So Jared, back to you.
Okay.
Do you feel like there's any of these other quests that you feel like you've achieved a milestone? There's no pressure. This happens at your speed. Um, Likewise, is it time to mark abandon on any of your themes? Do you feel like you did not work toward a milestone and you kind of ignored your theme? And was that like a choice that you went, well, I could do this or I could do that, and I'm going to do that, which is not what this quest was, right? It's the opposite. Or I chose something to do that wasn't my quest when I could have done something that would have furthered me toward my goal, right? So that's the point of that question,
Yes.
is to find out, are you leaving your quest behind, like making a choice to do that, or did you actually accomplish something you feel like helped? Right? Does that make sense?
No, I would say it's early in
Yeah.
this kind of deductive reasoning to make that
Yep.
assessment. Right now, I
Yep.
played some cards. It's not to say that that was my hand. I just tossed out 3 cards. I might ask for some new ones, but that's further down the road. Right now, my job was to find out what I was dealing with and to keep my comrades alive and myself. So I did just that.
Cool. All right. You did. You didn't reach an improvement on anything, but I know you got some weakness tags, and you gained 2 growth on past. You gained 1 growth on personality, and so there you go. um, good. Then let's talk to Ashrin.
So Ashen didn't really do anything that went against or violated any of her themes, but
Right.
I do think actually in her case, her circumstance on a pilgrimage, um, her quest for a big discovery could be just over the next hill. I do think actually this being a lot of her first experiences dealing with something more than just picking up folk tales and stuff like that, chasing down red herrings of people that might have experience or whatever. That this was kind of like the formative moment of starting finding a big discovery. So it's the kind of the first milestone for her.
Okay. Coolio. All right. So as you see, what I've done to your little text box down there is
Yeah.
I've added like these 3 brackets. I'm thinking put an asterisk or an X or something like that, and that will let you keep track of your milestones. So for those who
Do we
can't
all
see
agree on
that,
an asterisk just for
or
conforming purposes?
I,
I
I
just did an X, but
Oh,
y-
X is fine then. I
yeah,
did an
you,
asterisk.
you can look at mine, but yeah.
Okay.
all right, very good. Chewbacca, let's talk about your quest. Do you feel like you've reached any milestones on any of these quests, or have you
Well,
felt like you should mark a
find a
pin?
protector strong enough to protect his hunters. Chewbacca will become known as a compassionate guy in High Glade, and for the Lord, I will require a home.
Okay. So what are your
What would
thoughts
you
on
think?
that? Oh, what do I think?
What would everybody think?
Well, I don't think you've acquired a home, but I mean, it's not like you're not working towards it.
Finding a finding a group
That's true.
might
I
might
guess, yeah,
be a
yours is
milestone
less
toward it.
about like a physical home, right? It's more about finding some people to belong to, right?
Well,
That's how I
actually, I
understood it.
am talking about a physical home, but
So,
also a
so Chewbacca
community
wants like
that
a
I,
place to actually settle down, like a town or a village.
yeah. And I also want an ally that can help me defend myself against some of my other pasts.
Uh,
And
Are
this
you
carried,
bringing baggage?
yeah, he is.
huh? Oh yeah.
I
And the
mean,
other one
if
is
you,
Chewbacca will become known as a compassionate guy in High Glade and with the Lord.
I don't
So,
think any of
Jared,
them, except maybe your past, maybe if you wanted like your first milestone for find a protector strong enough to deflect his hunters, perhaps the performance of Jared or something, the way he kind of fearlessly stood against this supernatural thing or whatever. Maybe that planted the thought in his mind or whatever that Jared might be that person.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mark, what makes sense to you? Again, this is 100% totally up to you and how you want your character to grow and evolve. All right.
So is that experience
No, no, no,
or
no.
not
What we're gonna
decay?
do? So which one? Find a protector or what? Is that the one?
His hunters.
Okay. So what I've done is I put 3 little boxes in that text. So you'll just click in there and mark an X in one of those boxes, and that will show that
Because
you've
he
applied
has spent
1 to that. Does that make sense?
time wandering all over the world, following jobs and stuff. So much that he doesn't actually know where he is in the world. He just not where his home was. So
Okay.
he's actually looking for a place to settle down,
So which
and
one do you
maybe
like better for?
when he gets to the
Okay, so you can see
adventure,
I put on your sheet, I put 3 little boxes in there. So just mark one off with an X where you
maybe
think a milestone belongs. Okay?
so
And then lock your sheet again when you're done.
where would I mark this?
I
Elias the Shadow.
no. Down at the bottom where it says motivation and it says find a
Put
protector
a
strong enough.
background or
Can you hear me?
can everybody hear me?
Yeah,
I
can you
can
hear
hear you.
me? Maybe you can't hear us.
You're very garbled.
So I'm going to put a screenshot in the chat, I guess. So let me take a picture of that. And then I'm going to put an arrow that goes to one of those. All right. All right, Chewbacca. Here is like this. Show all players. Okay, can you see that? I put those 3 boxes in there. Put an X in one of those boxes. I hope he gets it. All right. Sounds like his internet's out and we're pretty much done anyway, but we have to ask. Did we ask everyone? We covered everyone.
Yeah.
Just not Maya, because Maya wasn't here. All right, cool. Very good. Then there's only
Hello.
one last thing to ask. Okay. One last question to ask, and that is the fellowship. So let's take a look at the fellowship theme. And you've been through stuff during this last part of your journey, this adventure. And so, how is the fellowship holding up on their quest? Are we accomplishing that? Again, milestones, or so is it time to mark abandon or a milestone? Is it time or does it need to wait?
My personal opinion is that for the um, quest of uncover the mystery of the miasma, but it was also the mystery of the miasma and other unknown things. Is that was really what I had discussed multiple times. It just
Okay.
wasn't the miasma; it was the
Well, update it then.
unknown.
That's your theme, dude. It's your. This belongs to your party. If everyone is on board with that, then just update it and decide if you should have a milestone marked or abandoned. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
About updating it or giving
And-
it growth?
Yeah, what do you think? Does it? So if it'll get growth automatically when we use an experienced team, right? So I should have probably
Oh,
tagged that earlier, but I
okay.
didn't think about it.
Okay, so growth is the improvement stuff.
Correct. And then to evolve the theme, that is, I guess, what's now called improve. Mark improve.
That's not confusing.
Because there's theme improvements, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I got to figure that out. So I like the term experience, but the fact is that they're all kind of related in different ways.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with, miasma and mysteries or whatever,
Okay.
I can't
Yep.
edit that card. Can anybody edit it? Even unlocked, I couldn't do it.
Oh, because it's a theme. So it is an actor. And where is it? Fellowship. You'll see it in your area
if
in the
you
There it
Actors
is.
tab
And
under
then it says
Heroes
and
and
the unknown.
Fellowship.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
so
it.
if you right click the fellowship tag, it brings up its actual one, and then you can unlock that one.
Oh, I see.
There you go. It's unlocked now because I can see all the
Gotcha.
icons came to life when you did that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. I think that ends our session tonight. Good job, guys. Again, not a lot of action, but some good role playing. I liked it.
Yeah.
So, well, you have encountered whatever this thing is, and the Oath Keeper is what you got. Okay, great. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to our studio audience. And thanks for watching, and join us next week when we find out more about what's going on in the Old Glade. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Great
Good
game.
night.